welcome. This is an interview with FFF NULL and Indian Junglist. Stay tuned for a nice interview with this Junglist and Breakcore fanatics. Let's go. Ready? Okay. Yes.
Here we go.
So guys, welcome to Breakcore Gives Me Wood. I want to ask you the first question, and thank you for having this interview, guys. It's really awesome that you guys want to do this. The first question I want to ask, what jungle or junglist inspired you to make jungle music like you do it today? Can we start with NULL for this question, and then we go, or you want to discuss?
Sure. I feel like I started earliest days with actually like drum and bass, 97, 98 drum and bass. So like earlier it was like tech step was the first thing I found, because that was the music that was popular at the time when I got into it around like 97, 98. Then a couple of years later, I sort of, actually before that, once at a party, someone played me like a Kenny Ken mixtape, but I didn't really get any of the stuff, so technically that was the first. But then after that, I remember finding like Remark and some like Hyperonic Experience was an early one for me. Also some underground stuff like Mole the Dipper. I found some Mole the Dipper records around like 2000 or something that were really cool.
Awesome, guys. You have different jungle roots or breakcore roots more?
Yeah, it's like everyone, we have kind of different inspirations. Yeah, it's kind of nearly the same. A little bit later, I went to jungle parties like, I guess, end of 90s, 99, beginning of 2000. So it was like, there was still kind of jungle in my area, like near Hamburg, kind of area near Baltic Sea. But it was like already kind of turning into drum bass, as you already said.
Yeah.
So it was like the end of jungle, and was already like hybrid into drum bass kind of.
Oh, okay. So all you guys,
He's more old school than us. Tommy's a little bit more old school.
For me, it's more the early German stuff like Force Inc. records and all the breakbeat type stuff that was on there. And my local record shop had some UK import stuff. So that the first
a lot of influence from the United Kingdom actually. And
but also Germany, what I said, the Force Inc. record, but also in the Netherlands, the Gamma records, they had some B-sides with like breakbeats and stuff.
Yeah.
I was always drawn into that sort of stuff. So.
Yeah, I guess one other one for me too, even in the drum and bass era for a while, even like there were some labels that would reissue the old jungle. So like I remember Hard Leaders #1, copies of that reappeared. I remember being able to buy that and being really excited or whatever, because it was back with all the brand new records or whatever.
Yeah, you're from America. That's like a different kind of scene, like
very much so. Yeah.
What kind of influences does America more have, like Europe, for example?
Well, I mean, I feel like the difference with America and Europe is that in Europe there was a certain level of credibility and seriousness to electronic music, dance music, that even through the 90s, where it was just like you for instance, you could be at a fitness club, at like I could be at a cheesy commercial fitness club in London or in Europe, and you hear techno get played or like Eurodance or something. In America, it wasn't the default thing for people to be aware of that kind of music. You had a niche of like certain kids that were ravers, but it was the same way, in high school or something, you have some kids that are the metalheads, some kids that are into the hip hop or something, and then you had the ravers. So it wasn't, there were some kids into some electronic music, but it definitely wasn't as big of a thing. But I'd say by like 97, 98, drum and bass definitely took hold at a lot of places in America. I think it probably spoke to people more because it was a bit louder and more technical, so people with more like, people with metal backgrounds or people with different types of music backgrounds got into it a bit more. So some of the parties in Boston, there'd be like, Ed Russian Optical Play, there'd be like 800 people or something like that. So we have, relatively speaking, pretty big parties there for stuff. And there was, for a while, there was like drum and bass nights almost like every night of the week, weeklies every night of the week or something. So it really did take off.
But also maybe some different question. It's like for more producing level, because you guys are all three producers. What's the favorite VST you like to use in your jungle tracks? Like you like, this is my VST. I always have like the response I want, and when I want to make a track.
It's hard to say. Really tough.
Choose three. Let's take three VSTs. The ones you have like these threes are my.
Hard to answer, because you always have like influences different. You can't like say a specific thing is like jungle, because jungle is like typically mixed up with so much variety. You can't just say it's like one specific artists or your machines you use. So everyone is like have a different approach. So it's the interesting part. So everything's same-ish, kind of, but still different. Same with Breakcore.
Okay.
I know for me, I'm trying hard. I've had issues where I used to use different types of VSTs, and then I'd leave the song files for a long time and I wouldn't finish them, and then I'd open them again after years, and either you couldn't get the VST anymore, or like the VST format changed and it was VST1 before and now it's VST3, or even like there's a new version of the VST and it doesn't load your preset. So what I tried to do the past few years is I do a lot of stuff in Ableton. I try to use the crappy Ableton stuff as much as possible, just because I know, even though it doesn't sound as good, like the Ableton compressor I put on every single channel before I start, just to make everything sort of nice and loud and even. But like I know if I use that, then if I open the file in 10 years, it's still going to open okay.
What about you, FFF?
Effect-wise, I don't use that much VSTs. It's mainly like EQ and that type stuff. But like the instruments, it's like FM type synths.
FM type synths.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh, one effect I just thought of that I can mention that I totally abuse too much is really obvious. It's just like a gating effect. So there's something called auto pan. It's made for panning left and right in Ableton, but you can switch it so it doesn't go left and right. It just chops the sound off and on.
Okay, cool.
And that's just such an old school jungle or just classic hardcore sound too, of like go to the sound. So if I'm not doing anything else, or if I have a sound that's sort of interesting but isn't quite there, I'll just chuck that on and be like, usually that's the thing I need or something.
Man, next question. What was the first software program you used for making beats production and stuff? Like
Fast Tracker.
Fast Records?
Fast Tracker.
Fast Tracker.
Yeah, Fast Tracker.
For me, it was actually, as I hadn't any PC computer back in the days, I just was using PlayStation 1.
Oh, cool.
Music 2000.
Music 2000, that was cool.
Super old school. And I started making hip-hop beats actually, and then later on kind of drum bass, jungle bass.
Fast Tracker too for me too, just like this dude.
And what's the best software program that's going to be compatible, like against all other software programs, for example, Ableton, Renoise? No, not that kind of stuff. Okay.
No, I mean basically, I know everyone says it's all about what you use, but it's obviously like if you use Renoise now, I use Ableton. I'd be just as happy if I put in the time that he put in to use Renoise. It's really just about picking one and learning the really deep tips, tricks, and also to be very fast in it. Because the main thing is being able to, you have an idea and you can type real fast and you can get your thing in fast, because otherwise everyone sits there and they try a million VSTs and they try different sequencer programs and they play around and they don't instantly sound like, Venetian snares or Soli or something, and then they try a different one. So
you guys use also hardware, I guess, like hardware production?
Sometimes.
No.
I only use my little pocket operators. I spend too much money on records, so I figure there's not money or room in my house for any hardware.
I only have one synth. That's it.
Okay.
I tried some, but mostly sorted again. I'm just mostly chopping samples and layers.
Another thing, something completely different. Your favorite breakcore jungle set over the years? Like that. I have good memories to that jungle set. I have very good memories. Like I was back on that event and like a DJ you know back in the past from 10 years ago or 5 years ago or.
I have one at Bankface like 23. It was really special for me because I was able to listen live to was Coco Bryce, Drought, back to back, Reaper, and ADHD. Sorry, I just but it was like then.
No, I didn't. If you know what, that's okay.
That was really magical moment for me, like fully mental jungle for me. Like, I can't describe
that Bang Festival, how they with the crew and stuff, and how they organize everything.
It was my first Bang Face, and then having this kind of quality, and especially into jungle, and still after all these years, I'm so excited that there's still such a strong scene, and it was really like heartwarming for me. I really enjoyed it. It was really amazing.
For me, maybe living in Pittsburgh, I was in a death metal band drumming, but I was also trying to make like Breakcore and Fast Tracker. And I heard that some kids were booking Venetian snares for the first time, and like this was 1999, I think. And so, but it was a very varied. They wanted to do a very varied rave that was like all sorts of music. So it was like him, and it was Knife Hand Chop, and it was Dormouse session. Oh, sorry. And so got to see him play on the basically DJing, cutting between two different desktop computers, like a lot of the old Midwest guys used to do. And I went up to him and I was like asking him to play a tune or something, and he gave me a look and it was like basically told me to fuck off. And then I talked to him afterwards. He said, "Oh, I thought you were asking me to play trance." So, but that definitely sticks in my mind. Also, the first Wood coming over, because I had no idea anyone liked this music. It was so small in a lot of places in America. And then going over even to the earliest ones, which weren't, you know, huge, not like the 1,500 crazy person, but like hundreds of people at a party with like, you know, me and Zen Opticon playing our crazy music. Just broke my brain. I couldn't believe anyone wanted to listen to it at all.
Okay, one more question, then the guy's gonna leave you because we already have a good interview. What's your favorite jungle movie or documentary you ever saw?
Jungle only?
Or Breakcore documentary?
Yeah, no, it's a Breakcore, I guess.
I can't say that one because I'm in it. So I got for jungle stuff, maybe a London something disc.
Yeah.
But or the good-looking records one has its funny moments for sure. But yeah.
I really enjoyed. It's an episode from the Dutch documentary series called Lola de Musica, and it had an interview with Square Pusher and Source Direct.
Yeah, that's a great one. That's from like '96, where Source Direct, they're driving around their Porsches they just bought or whatever. Yeah, that's a
I
cool
really
one.
enjoyed that one.
Guys, thank you for the interview. Thank you very much. You're gonna make something beautiful out of it. And awesome, bro. That was great interview. Thank you guys. Really.